Hello everybody, it is Monday the 28th of March. I want to talk about this thing of divide and conquer and then actually understanding the human computer, this biological computer. That is the knowledge of ourselves that we need to have to see what they're doing, because in the end the whole thing is a conjurer's trick. Yeah. First of all, it works because first of all, you do not know the mechanics of the trick. So you don't know what the conjurer is actually doing. And you do not, at the moment and in the location where it's actually happening, yeah, your awareness is being diverted to somewhere else. So first of all, you don't know what they're doing. And secondly, you don't see it because you're looking somewhere else. Now, the mechanics of it, what they're actually working, is this computer. And the moment and the location where it's actually happening is now and in your heart. They're working you. So we must understand how we work. So we understand the trick. We understand what it is they're doing. Now the whole thing started this morning when my friend Tina posted a video, and this guy was talking about entertaining the masses, yeah? And he had this thing about, he showed a cinema with a horror film, and he showed a football stadium and the crowds cheering. And then came this sweeping stupid statement, which was, they are giving you a fake experience, yeah, to keep you entertained so you don't look where you should be looking. It's in part true, but sweeping statement, there's a lot of stupidity in there. And there we must understand what they're actually working. And he said it is a fake experience because it's coming from somewhere else. Yeah, again, sweeping, stupid, true in one part, not true in the other. And that is fundamentally not understanding how we process information. And that is that our input is coming from two different places. It's coming from the head, which is here and now, visual, five senses. And it's coming from our empathy, from our lower nature, from our connectiveness to everything else. And those two informations come together. The heart is a processing center. It processes the two inputs. And how you feel about it and what you should do next should come out of the correct processing of the information. Now, and the other thing is, it's fake when it's coming from somewhere else. Because a human being we are capable of giving our knowing to each other. Yeah? That is, we can give information that we have and the emotional energy, our emotional energy, yeah, to make the other understand. And that is not fake. That is how we work. How we function. That is how we are greater than just ourselves, because we can receive of each other. Now, how full that information is that you receive, the knowing that you receive of somebody else, would very much depend on how strong your connections are. A bit like a phone. If the connection is bad, all you hear is crackling and there's not much information coming across. But this is basically how we function. And our processing center, our heart, can only work on the information given, same as any other computer. So then if you come to the cinema and you look at that, and you can see that the visual input is coming from the screen, that's what you're processing, but there is no emotional information coming from the screen because it's not alive. So you're drawing on your own emotions to make it a full picture. Yeah, emotional memory, maybe maybe a bit of imagination. It all creates then the full experience, and that is actually not really real. No, it's not. I mean, because the way the information is coming to you, you're not connected really, because the informational input is not connected to anything that's coming from yourself. Now, if you look at the football stadium, that's a completely different scenario, because there you are in real energies. Yeah, the energy of the players, the energy of the crowd around you. You have the visual input and you have the emotional energy. So that's a very real situation. So how are you processing this and assessing that? And there's a place where they use divide and conquer. And I show you what that does to you, to the way you're processing the information and the conclusions you reach. If you were to be there, the fullness of a human being, and you would connect to the players, and that is all the players, on a human level, yeah? There's nothing else, human to human. Then for every player, you would interpret their triumphs as triumphs and their failures as failures. You would empathize with them, and you would rejoice with them. And if the crowd around you would watch the game in the same way, you would have one experience, because on a human level we would probably pretty much feel the same thing and interpret it the same way. Triumph as failure as failure. But that's not what's happening. And here comes divide and conquer, and look at what's happening to your judgment when that happens. You are no longer a human being, you are a football club supporter. You're there as a football club supporter. Yeah, you're supporting one side. You're becoming a part, not the whole anymore. And then what's happening to your own team? Yes, you still process it the same way. Their triumphs are your triumphs, their failures, you emphasize, you feel it as failure. But for the opposing team, your judgment is flipped on its head. Their triumphs become your failure, and their failure, you triumph over. See what it's doing to your judgment? How it is suddenly, and triumph in one person is good and triumph in another person is bad. Same thing, but you're judging it differently. There is where you're divided, where your judgment is divided. And then if the judgment is divided in the entire crowd, because there's supporters here and supporters there, and the parts are strengthening each other in their own judgment in the way they're seeing that, and then you have the two crowds going up against each other, can even lead to violence. That's what they're working. That is how they are working it. But you must understand that in yourself. And then you must understand how much you can actually trust your own judgment. When you understand how it is produced, do you have all of the information to actually make a judgment? The other thing is, of course, the cinema setting, which in a globalized world, you're getting more and more of your information through the screen. Whether that information is even, we know they can manipulate the visual even. If that's even true, that we don't know. But you definitely do not have the emotional input, the emotional connectivity. Those people that you are seeing on the screen cannot give to you the fullness of their knowledge, because you cannot feel them. And there's again why from a screen it's much easier to lie to you than if a person was speaking to you, standing in front of you, because you would feel it. If it wasn't quite truth, you would have an intuitive, emotional knowing there's something wrong. You don't get that over the screen. You can't. You can't feel it. So this is how they're driving you into making the wrong decisions, into supporting the wrong thing, into making the wrong judgments. Of course, you are then acting on your judgments. So this picture of humanity at the moment as being, or the picture of the world being the picture of humanity as being completely evil. No, it's not. It's a picture of humanity not getting the information that it needs to process in the heart, for the heart to make the correct decision. That's what's wrong. And as I said, it is you must be a full human being, not a representation of a country or a religion or of a football club, but as a human being. And to really judge, you need the emotional energy to create the full picture. I mean, you can draw on your own experience, on your own emotional knowing. You can. And it will fill in a lot of the gaps. But, if you're not there, you probably don't know. Not completely. So there is how you should evaluate your own judgment in the situation. But as I said, we're being given our judgment, what we should think. We're not evaluating it properly because we don't have the information. And then there's a time factor. Of course, that we're being driven. A decision has to be made now because, something desperate is going to happen any second now. So we've been pressured into making decisions based on not the correct information. And then when it's all going belly up, it's because we're evil. It's not. But that's where you understand what the mechanics that the conjurer is using. It is using you. And the time and the place when the trick is actually happening is always now and in your heart, when you are trying to discern good and bad. And when you're actually left in a position where you cannot do it. And then we are making decisions out of not knowing. That's what's basically happening. Anyway, I think I leave it at that for now. And I'm saying now, if you think this information is useful to you or to others, please share my videos and please donate to my channel. And I talk to you again soon. Bye.